Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, hope you're having a good weekend. Checking in on commodities. We're going to look on the weekly time frames first and we'll zoom it in. So the dollar on the weekly is still maintaining higher lows. It's been choppy on the daily time frame over the past couple of weeks, but as long as we zoom out to the weekly, it's clear that we do still have a higher low pattern and the bulls are heading up to test our most recent resistance of 95.65, and then we would be looking at the next major level of 97.87 as resistance. So the bulls are keeping control of this trend as long as those higher lows are maintained. Here's the daily chart and what I'm talking about, where we broke some support, broke some resistance, just some choppy action overall in this range. So I haven't really liked the clarity on the daily time frame, which is why we default to the weekly time frame, and it's much more clear. Bulls have full control as long as the higher lows are maintained. So we're looking to see if the bulls can keep this up and get a bull break this coming week, which would be bearish news for gold. Gold is trying to see an oversold bounce, and it's struggling due to the dollar's strength. So looking at gold down here, support is 1204.36, and looking at 1200 psychological as well. Bulls are hoping that it can be one of these scenarios where we did lose weekly higher lows, but then rocketed to a bullish move. I don't foresee that happening. I foresee a bounce, absolutely, but I think it's just going to set a lower high in the mid-1200s. So still no sign of a bounce really getting going. The daily chart continuously sets lower highs, and for a while I was saying 1235 has to break for the bulls to prove anything to me. Now that level's dropping down a little bit. Need to see a break of 1228. Just clear lower highs day after day, 4 days in a row now. And we have to see, clear trend changes. The 4-hour trend has to change. That has not happened yet. So we need higher lows and breaks of the lower highs. So it's worth watching at this point, but just be aware that the trend is absolutely still bearish. And these RSI, these little bounces cool off the RSI to allow for further downside. So just from being oversold at the end of last week, that one green candlestick cooled off the RSI back from being oversold again. So we could still see further downside, but we are watching these patterns, these month-long patterns that we pointed out on these miners GDX and GDXJ. So here's GDX, where we have this equilibrium that has been building and building for an extreme amount of time, and we're just patiently waiting. Support was down at 2084 and we hit 2089, so the bulls barely clinging on to that support. Resistance is up at 2331, and we're on the verge of a bear break of this very long-term monthly pattern. Keeping in mind that GDXJ has some more space to work with, a bear break would be 29.88, and we drop down to 31.19. So the junior miners are much more bullish than the senior miners, just in comparison of where they stand on the pattern. If we see a 1% pullback in both, it's a clear break on GDX, but GDXJ would still be holding its support level. So important to note that difference between the two. Ideally, they would be closer together so we could get a bull break or a bear break at the same time between these two names. That might not happen, and it actually happened with GDXJ, where we broke, or I should say GDX. We did break a support level previously of 2127, so technically already broke a support level that does shift the favor towards the bears a little bit, but GDXJ holding up much better. So keeping an eye on both. Gold better get this bounce going if these bulls want to maintain the recent support of 2084 on GDX. Oil on the weekly time frame trying to establish a higher low compared to 63.62. Anything above that level will do for keeping the uptrend alive, and right now the bulls have a bit of a base of support down at 67. The weekly chart here at 67.08 and then 66.95. So daily chart has to see a break of 70.41 for the bulls to convincingly say, all right, we have our weekly higher low established. And as of right now, you can see we've been trading within this range for a couple of weeks. Did break support, but the bulls very quickly bought that break. So still maintaining and looking for a break this coming week. And last, we'll wrap it up with natural gas. So natural gas on the weekly time frame, solid oversold bounce, but we're looking for a lower high to form because this pullback broke the higher low pattern. So anything above or anything below 3018 is a lower high, and we're keeping an eye out for a bearish entry on natural gas potentially this coming week. Bulls in full control of the daily time frame, higher low established at 274, but we are going to be looking to top out as the 4-hour RSI is a bit extended. So if we start the week strong and see a bull move up and get this 4-hour RSI up around 75 or 80, then we'll be looking for the potential of a temporary top to be set and some further consolidation to come. So that's where we stand, keeping an eye on those longer term patterns on the miners, watching the dollar to see if the bulls can continue the strength. Any strength I see in the dollar, that tells me be more patient on gold in terms of the bulls bouncing. I appreciate you watching. We'll check back in soon. Have a great rest of your weekend.